Hey guys, I hope you're doing well. Today we're going to be talking to one of the world's biggest YouTube editors, Taylor, who used to be a lead editor for Mr. Beast. I really love this conversation I have with Taylor, and I hope you guys do too. Enjoy. Dude, thank you so much for taking the time. Come chat with me.
Dude, thank you for having me. It's wild. This, in a lot of ways, this feels like weirdly full circle, because I don't know if you know this, but when I originally got the call from the Mr. Beast team that, hey, we're going to send you a trial edit, and depending on how that goes, you may or may not have a job. Okay. Side note, that was like the same month my son was born. And a week after we brought him home from the hospital, all our clients left. So I had zero income, a newborn, and I had the people at Beast being like, hey, basically your whole life depends on this edit, right? Oh, and so I was like, okay, cool. So I did what any self-respecting video editor would do. I hopped on YouTube and I said, how to edit Mr. Beast videos. and then there was yours truly, your host, Finny Boy, being like, let me show you how to edit Mr. Beast videos. We gotta do the big fish. No, I'm talking about the main channel, you know?
Yeah.
And I watched that a ton and I was like, okay, cool. And all's well that ends well. I wound up getting the gig and it was a total blessing. We were able to connect while I was there, but now I'm talking to you afterwards. But yeah, man, dude. I was a fan before I ever worked there. So I'm happy to be talking to you.
Oh man, that's so nice to hear. I never thought that video would ever be seen by anyone on a Beast team, let alone help someone on their journey to get into the Beast team. So that's that's worth it. That's as much as a video can be worth it. That's humanly possible.
We all gathered around and watched it, and we were all like, nailed it, dude. We nailed it, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh man, well, thank you. That's a great introduction. Say your name so everyone knows who you are.
Hi, I'm Taylor Gunn. Video editor, head of post-production, general creative, writer, and honestly, not that talented of a guy. I don't think that I'm that great at any of those things. I'm okay at a lot of different things, and I think in YouTube that's kind of important because we are generalists, not specialists. So there's a little bit of an advantage there. But I've got to work with some incredible people that I really admire. I'm sitting here with Finzar, so I am just stoked.
What got you into editing in the first place?
I've done just about every job on the planet, none of them creative. I sold used cars. I was a welder. Managed hotels, sold shoes, a lot of construction. And I just was really, really unhappy. So the last real job I had was helping to manage a hotel, and I was really unhappy. And my wife just said, you should quit. And I was like, yeah, but I don't know what I would do. And then I saw a YouTube video by Sam Colder. It was his Hawaii 2.0 video. That's when I decided to actually take the leap to full time. And so I just decided I'm going to do this. And I remember the first real paid, because I'd done video editing projects before that. I dabbled in filming, and I wanted to be a director and a writer for a long time. But this is like my first venture into the realm of true video editing. And I remember I got paid like $80 to cut a 10-hour wellness course off Upwork. And I was pumped, dude. I was pumped to have that work. Wow. And then a couple Facebook psychic ad campaigns later, dude, I was rocking and rolling.
Oh man. So nice. A couple of questions in one here, really. First, editing software, and also what made you install that software? When was the first time that you installed editing software and you were just giving it a shot?
Dude, I think it was called Lightworks.
I've heard of this. I have heard
I think the icon's like a red shark. Okay. It's like this free, really, really cheap kind of iMovie ripoff software. Really, really bad. And that was what I kind of learned the basics on, and then I switched to Premiere not too long after that. Premiere is where I wanted to go. And the thing about it is like, you know, I should preface this by saying that when I started actually video editing in like 2015, 2016, my wife and I had sold everything that we owned, and we moved to Alaska, and we didn't know anybody, and we didn't have any jobs lined up, and we spent like 80% of our money getting there, right? And so it was to actually I remember pulling the trigger and actually getting the Adobe Creative Cloud for like the $50 or whatever it was back then.
Yeah.
And that being like a huge purchase. So I like had to commit to that software. And so when I made the jump from, I think it was Lightworks to Premiere, I went ham on everything, bro. I learned how to use Illustrator, Photoshop, After Effects. I was even like kind of proficient at like rigging and systems and design and character animator. I learned how to use Adobe Muse back when that was a thing, because I said to myself, okay, I've always wanted to be a paid creative. Everything I could possibly want to do is in this creative suite. If I can learn these tools, I know I'll be successful. And so I just dedicated myself to not just Premiere, but everything in the Adobe suite.
Wow. I really respect that, dude. That's awesome. That's like a real, you worked hard to get to where you've been. So I can see that. With that in mind, we've got the story of you moving. You make yourself proficient in all of these softwares. When was your first big break, or what you would consider a big break?
Yeah, that's easy. That would be working for Kimberly Moffat.
Okay.
I think she's right around like 200,000 subs. And that was, to me, that was like huge, man. That was working with like a big YouTuber. Her brother, Matt Moffat, is actually one of the co-creators and founders of ASAP Science.
Okay.
Which is that's a pretty big channel, but she was so sweet and so amazing and so nice to be able to give me the opportunity, because I didn't really have a reel or a portfolio or anything worth gaining someone's trust or showing off a skill set, because I didn't really have a skill set at the time. Right. But she really let me kind of just come into the channel, and I think that was when things financially started to like stabilize. Right. And that's when it felt like a big break, is consistently relying on, $1,000 a month or whatever. It felt huge, man.
Yeah, I can imagine. I agree. I feel like as soon as the kind of money goes up into the thousands and it's coming in every month, that's when it starts to feel like a real job, and suddenly you've got the commitment to it and the dedication. 100%. So, I still have that feeling. It hasn't gone away in the 8 years I've been doing this kind of professionally, and then a couple of years before that. I still have that just huge feeling of gratitude. That's like, dude, I can't believe people pay me to do YouTube stuff, because I love YouTube. Like, this is just the most insane thing. Like, it's so cool. You worked with Mr. Beast. That's probably the biggest fish that anybody could work for.
Sure.
What is the journey like getting there?
When my wife and I were both business partners, she edits, she's a photographer, she's an amazing creative in her own right. Great. And so we were doing everything together. We had a kid. She kind of, was doing the mom thing. I had to take over a lot of the business side of things solo for the first time really in our whole relationship. Right. And so it wound up being like, I had to hit the ground running. I still have this spreadsheet, dude. I sent over like 300 queries to different YouTubers. I only heard back from 2 people.
Wow.
2 people. And that was my buddy over at Stylized Station.
Okay.
And the Mr. Beast team, oddly enough.
Wow.
So out of 300 people, they were just the one that happened to hit me back up. So they said, do you want to be an assistant editor for the Reacts channel? And I said, absolutely. I'm happy to do whatever you guys want me to do. And they said, do you want to move to North Carolina? And I said, I don't know, dude. Like, my wife and I had just bought a house in Texas, like literally 4 months before that.
Oh my God.
But they said, would you be willing to do it if we entertained the idea of you becoming a lead editor? And I said, yeah, that sounds good. That sounds good. That's really the best deal that was on the table. That was the only deal on the table at that point for me. So I was like, sounds good. So they handed me this edit, right?
Right.
And they told me I had like 15 days to complete it. And it was this, it was actually it was unreleased for a long time. And then Jimmy gave it to Ludwig, and Ludwig wound up posting it. It's that one.
Okay.
And so I cut that before it was public, and not that version that is currently on the internet. It was a different version. And they told me I had 15 days to cut it. I cut it in 10 to try to like be impressive. I crushed Red Bulls, and I don't know how many years I took off my life doing that.
That single edit.
Watched every single one of Finzar's videos. And I just really tried to do my best job, man. And almost gave me the lead editor position immediately. Like it was pretty immediate. And part of that was almost like, because when I got originally hired there, they were doing, if you could stay in the circle for 100 days, win $500,000 with Sean. But that was like, that video was rolling for 3 months. So they said, Taylor can lead edit this video, and then he can co-edit like all these other videos. So they gave me a chance to be a lead editor immediately while working on getting my chops on all these other videos. So by the time that video got done, I was ready to go, like lead editor, main channel.
Goodness.
Hopes and dreams coming true.
Wow. Well, I hate to disagree with your initial statement of not being talented then, because I think that what you're saying is actually that, you know, being offered that lead position straight away, you must be.
I do appreciate it.
You got chops, man. You got editing chops. What is like the structure of video being made at Mr. Beast? Like, how many editors do you have to go through before it's the finished product?
Yeah. When I originally got there, man, it was just really a handful of people. It was a small team in one room, and there wasn't a ton of structure. There was assistant editors, there were lead editors, and there was a couple of floaters. Right. But by the time I left there, I got to be head of post-production. We were able to have coordinator, supervisor, leads, seconds, editors. That whole department was built out to like 20 plus people by the time I left. So it scaled real quick. And the process of that was just like, you know, by the end of it, like titles like didn't mean a ton, because we were all just almost like crew members on a pirate ship, and we were just trying to get that ship to shore. Right. And so there, you know, you would have AEs cutting selects, but also busting out sequences. You would have second editors doing crazy motion graphics things. You know, I would be there literally just running between rooms because there's like 2 videos getting done at the same time. Like, okay, is that good? Okay, move on next. And so it was what I would call controlled chaos, which was kind of hard for, I think it was, I've had a lot of dreams in my life. And one of those dreams was to be a chef. I actually went to like culinary school for a little bit. Wow. And so when I look at like a Michelin star restaurant, it's supposed to be hot. It's supposed to be chaotic. It's supposed to be controlled chaos, because you're really trying to make a diamond. So a lot of pressure is required. Yeah. And that's what that place is like. And so I rather than being averse to it, kind of fell in love with it. And I think that was why I was able to thrive there, is because it really is just the most chaotic thing, dude.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, that's an interesting comparison to make between, you know, kitchen and editing, because it's the same. Like I think I've made that comparison in like a very jokey way in my videos. With like I've put Gordon Ramsay clips in so many of my old videos, man. But that is awesome to hear. And such a good visual representation as well.
I got it from, to be fair, I got it from Anthony Bourdain's Kitchen Confidential, where he's talking about, books right there. He's talking about how a kitchen operates like a pirate ship. And I was like, dude, that's very much how an editing team works too.
Nice. Yeah, I can imagine. It's so high pressure, especially, Mr. Beast. It's like high stakes. Every video has to be.
Yeah.
Wow. When you got in touch with Mr. Beast, did you want to work with him? As in, like, had you been a watcher of his channel, that kind of thing?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay. For sure. I found Jim when he was originally doing the huge donations on like Twitch and stuff. Yeah. I think the first like video I think I ever saw of his on YouTube is the one where he did it was like a tote in a pool, and he had the hose feeding air into the tote, and he tried to stay under there for like a really long time. That was like the first video I ever saw of his. And so I had watched his videos for like a super long time. I even remember, like, side note, my wife and I, we after we left Alaska, we sold everything again. We bought an RV and we traveled around the country for like 2 years. And I remember being parked in the middle of like a nowhere Arizona desert, just being like, you haven't heard of Mr. Beast? And like, we crushed Mr. Beast videos in like the Arizona desert for like days. And I think it was about 6 months to the day that I wound up getting that job too. Wow. So
it sounds like you and your wife have had a massive like saga of events happening in your life. It sounds pretty epic.
Yeah, I've lived the life of 10 men, mate. Let me tell you. Yeah. It's weird too. I think it's like a chicken and egg situation where I feel like this industry attracts a lot of people like that want to live on their own terms, kind of unorthodox. Yeah. I mean, I basically placed my bet when I was 18 and decided to get a neck tattoo. I was like, I'm not going to have a normal standard life. I'm not going to do it. Yeah. And then It's just one of those things, you know, and I'm so blessed to have her, and she's been such an amazing part of what I've been able to do and who I've been able to become to. Because to be honest, like before I met my wife, dude, I wasn't doing much, bro. Like I was just partying with friends, and I really didn't have a ton of, I had a lot of ambition, but no direction. And so, yeah, man, just having her has been the best part of my life.
Shout out to your wife. She sounds great, man.
Shout out Shannon.
Shout out Shannon. Woo! Yeah, she sounds awesome. Also, preface this, you don't have to answer this. I'm sure there are NDAs around this, but I'm interested. I'm sure everyone will be very interested to kind of know what the journey of payments have been like. How have you gone from, you know, starting off, you said $80 for a 5-hour course, was it?
Yeah. Yeah, I will be super transparent about this, dude.
Okay.
Because I think in our industry, it's kind of wild that it's kind of like that joke, you know, where it says like, feed the bears meat, they love that. And it's like, who put up that sign? Bears? You know, that's how I kind of feel in that workplace policy where it's like, we don't talk about pay. It's like, that literally doesn't benefit anyone but like the employer. That doesn't benefit the employee. So I'm pretty transparent about it. And this is really an important distinction to make as far as whoever might be listening and where you're at in your journey in this industry, is there's a lot of different ways to get paid. There's a lot of different ways that you can structure getting paid. And there's certain ways to demand certain price points and different from different clientele. So it varies widely on where you're at in your journey. Just because you're at the beginning and, you know, you're only making, you know, $100, $200 per video doing your thing, you're as long as you're doing the best work that you can be at that time, and that's really all that matters. That's the only thing I really focused on. I never pursued trying to make more and more money. I only pursued trying to get better at my craft and better at what I was doing. I still till this day watch tutorials. Shout out Maypal how to say his name on YouTube. He's fantastic, bro. He's so good. I love watching his tutorials. So I've just always tried to keep learning. And when you do that, when you know that when the project is over, that you're putting on YouTube or you're logging into lynda.com or Udemy and you're continuing to learn, when you do that, it actually does give you a certain confidence to be able to say, like, this is my price, this is what I'm worth. Because there might be people better than me right now, but I'm going to be better than them in you know, a month, a year from now, because I'm never going to stop learning and getting better. So I never made more than probably $1,000 on a video.
Ready.
While I was freelancing. That never happened. And I started to kind of not enjoy the process of just editing. And so I started to offer things like filming, film production, all that stuff, which was something I had a lot of experience with, and so did my wife. So we were offering film production and editing, just kind of like end-to-end packaging. Did like a couple weddings, a commercial. Right. And that's when like kind of the price point moved a little bit, because you go from making $1,000 for a project to making, you know, $8,000 for a project. And so I was like, oh, that's great. I think on average, just editing wise, which is something I really try not to do too much anymore. I really try not to edit. There's only a couple YouTubers I think I would actively edit for, and those would be the ones that I really, really, really love. Right. But beyond that, I just, I committed to myself about 3 years ago to work myself out of editing, because the God's honest truth was I was never going to make more than maybe $1,000 to $2,000 per video. And that's working with the best people under extreme conditions. Yeah. Once you go to salary, it gets a little different. I think a really solid salary for an editor that is really putting in the work every week is probably around $80,000. I think if you're making $50,000 to $80,000 a year, you're doing really, really well in the space. That's a really, really good income in our industry. And then this everything we do is results based. It's value based, right? So I knew that if I wanted to make more money, I had to do something other than just edit videos. And so I kind of started growing my skill sets in all directions, right? Just the same way I learned like the Adobe Suite. I started to learn cinematography. I started to learn business management and really sharpen my leadership skills. You know, the funniest thing about that old hotel job that I had is I might have been kind of miserable at it, but they required me to take like every 2 weeks I had to take a leadership course. I had to take a leadership course on management styles and different HR approaches. And I think that gave me a huge benefit working in this industry, because our industry is a lot like the Wild West, bro.
Yeah.
And so to be able to bring any type of, not corporate, but like structured leadership skills and like the ability to juggle a lot logistically and deliver stuff on time. Creatives are notoriously flaky.
Yeah.
I will tell you, anybody that's a video editor right now, if you can deliver stuff on time, you're already ahead of like 80% of the people out there. And that's what I did. I wrote down, I'm like, I'm not ever going to be the best video editor. So what can I do? I was like, well, I can deliver stuff on time. I can never stop learning, always try to get better. And I can always try to be positive and be the kind of person that people want to work with. And that's everything. That I learned that early on, dude. Those connections are worth their weight in gold. Because what you get to a certain point in this industry where you're not even generating leads, you're not querying people anymore, you're just getting word of mouth recommendations from people that really liked working with you. And that's a big thing.
You've kind of answered the next question, which would be, what do you think a good editor should be paid? I think it comes down to so many things, so many variables.
Size of the channel, ROI on everything they're doing. I think a good pay structure, just like off the rip, is going to be $50,000 to $80,000 is a really solid place for an editor to be. If you are a lead editor that is in charge of quality control and you are handling the heavy visual effects elements of a thing, I think you should be at $100,000. You should be six figures.
Yep.
I think that if you are a lead editor that is doing quality control and you're managing, 3 people or more, that should probably be more closely around 120.
Yeah.
I think that if you are just above lead editor, almost like a supervising editor, where you're managing leads, you're managing assistants, you're basically the in between to management and the creative. At that point, you really should be 150 to 180. And if you want to get into like big numbers as far as like trying to make $240,000 to $250,000 a year, that's basically you diversifying your income, dude. That's doing what Finzar is doing, dude. You're getting in there, you're selling these amazing meme packs that I use constantly in any video I ever edited, dude. That thing is so digital products, make building a brand for yourself online, a personal brand, and leveraging one client into the next. They say don't quit a job until you have another one lined up. And it really should be like that in our industry as well. You should be taking whatever you're getting paid from your current client, and you should be actively having irons in the fire over here and saying, I'm not going to work for anything less than this because I'm already doing it. And so if you do it with that mentality, you can be leveling up your income, I think, over a pretty quick amount of time.
What has been the toughest part of your editing journey?
Oh man, we're going to go into deep waters. I might have to pop a Zinner on this one. It's not having my own thing. I play several instruments. I write music. I write novels. I write screenplays. I write poetry. I know how to use a camera. I have all the camera gear. I know how to edit videos. Been doing that for a long time. I've only ever put any of those skills to work for other people.
Yeah.
That's been hard. That's really a big part of why I wound up leaving Beast, is because I woke up one day and I was 34 years old with a kid. And I was like, if I don't start trying to write crazy cool fantasy novels and crazy cool sci-fi novels right now, it's never going to happen. If I don't try to start a stupid vlog on YouTube right now, it's never going to happen. And so if you would have asked me that question like 2 years ago, I think it would have really stung to give that answer. It definitely would have stung a bit to be like, yeah, I don't have credit on almost anything I've ever done. No one's went out of their way to credit me. People in the industry might know who I am, but dude, outside of the, it's like, and so I was just like, damn, that feels bad, kind of,
I totally understand it. Totally.
So now I'm doing my own thing.
Everything's
and I'm very happy
linked in the
about it.
description. All of Taylor's stuff, everything that he wants to promote is right there.
Thanks, man.
Click on it. How long was it before you started telling people at parties that you were an editor?
Oh shit, dude. That is an amazing question. That is so good, dude. Because you feel like an imposter for a long time.
Yeah.
That is so true. Especially if you started back when like it wasn't really like being a YouTuber wasn't like a thing.
Yeah.
There was no, there was no like Casey Neistat and Jimmy D leading the way to, getting prime time on MSNBC. Like look at and getting Time magazine covers and, Forbes and all that. So dude, it was a hot minute.
Really?
There was probably a good like 18 months where I rather would have said I was just unemployed and actively looking than being like, I'm a video editor on YouTube. Yeah.
Oh man,
for sure.
I'm the same. I remember I struggled so much trying to tell people what to do, like what I was doing, because I was still living with my parents when I started doing YouTube, and often they'd have friends that would come around, or we'd go to other family events or something like that. And obviously the questions come up of like, oh, what are you up to at the moment? You're like, 23. What are you doing? And fuck, like I struggled so much to tell someone that I was like editing for $20 a video doing a Minecraft rough cut for some dude, for some random dude that I don't even know. Stuff. I did actually do that. I did tell my close family friends once that that's what I did. And the look of absolute shock and disappointment was palpable.
Those were probably like the hardest times too, is like the family get-togethers, dude. Because strangers, you'll get the same kind of back and forth. They go, "What do you do?" And you're like, "I'm doing editing on YouTube." They're like, "Oh, is there money in that?" And you go, "Yeah." And I go, "Okay." But family digs in, dude. They're like,
they sink their claws in.
They're like, "You think you can pay for a wedding on that kind of salary?" I don't think so.
You seem to me like a motivated man, very motivated.
Yeah.
What is it that keeps you going?
Oh, self-hate, dude.
Self-hatred.
There's no better motivation than self-hatred.
Solid.
If you're one of these people that actively wake up in the morning and you're like, man, I can't get motivated, I don't know what to do. You just need to hate yourself more. Yeah. And then you'll take action.
Yeah. Cool.
That's like, I'm like 30% joking. No, it's really just, it's going to sound silly and sappy, but it really is a couple things, which is that to say that I was a complete loser when my wife met me is an understatement. And she was like in college and an athlete, and she had her whole life ahead of her. And she got with me, this guy with a neck tattoo and a little bit of a beer belly, and like didn't, so her whole family's like, what the hell are you thinking? And I just want to prove her right. I want to prove to her that I can be the guy that she believed. And that's the thing, is like, dude, I borderline can't take credit for like anything, because she's so avidly in support of everything I do, whether it's writing or music or YouTube or whatever. And she's just like right there, like my biggest cheerleader. And so I continually want to push forward to keep proving her right, because we've placed all these bets, like moving to Alaska and buying an RV and traveling around and trying to quit my job and do YouTube. We placed all these bets and they keep paying off. And it's like, let's keep going. Let's keep going and keep having fun. That's really all it is, man, is trying to make her proud, do something that I think my kid will be really proud of, and something that when I look back, I say to myself, like, I'm really, really happy with how I spent my time here. And people always say, like, oh, you retire. And I just don't even know what that means, dude. I don't think I would ever want to retire. I want to write novels till the day I die. I want to talk about YouTube till the day I die. I just love it.
That's awesome, dude.
And I'm just really grateful, man. That's probably what it is. It's just gratitude for the road behind me. So
shout out Shannon. It's really nice. She sounds like a superpower, which I love to hear it.
Yeah, big time.
What was the best piece of editing advice you've ever been given?
I'm going to have to go with this book by Blair Enns. It's called The Win Without Pitching Manifesto. And this is a book that definitely kind of changed my perspective on how I was living my life. Because when you're a freelance editor, you're everything. You're your own hype man. You're your own accountant. You're your own, most importantly, you're your own sales agent. And that book changed my life as far as, and Chris Doe from the Future as well gave a similar advice, but this is the best advice I've ever been given, editing or not, which is that it's not your responsibility to justify your price. It's just not. You know, if someone says like, why do you think you're worth that much? Or why should I pay you that much money? Just go, do or don't. Like it's not your responsibility to justify your knowledge and experience and skill set and what you bring to the table. The work that you do should be trying to create that type of signal in a noisy industry so people know who you are, what you're about, what you've done. And if you do that well, then when it comes down to talking with clients on price and, you know, they question what you're doing, that's a them problem. It's not a you problem. You have to figure out if you can afford to not pay me that. It's not my job to figure out if you can afford to. So that's really big advice that I think just from a business mentality, I still carry with me, bro, every day.
If there was a new up and coming editor in front of you right now, just starting off, what do you recommend?
Your reputation is everything. This is a very small industry. It's not nearly as big as you think it is. Your ability to deliver on time, be a delight to work with, ask insightful questions, give solutions, learn on your own time, not make your problems other people's problems, is more important than having a client on your resume, than having a film school degree, than having a $20,000 absolute editing beast machine. The most important thing is to make a good reputation for yourself, because just like any other industry, you might be a new editor in this industry. There's a lot of other new editors in this industry, and thumbnail designers and motion graphics artists and a ton of other people. Connecting with those people and being the kind of person they want to work with, you're all going to come up together. You're all going to rise together. And so that's literally the most important thing I could ever say to anybody.
Yeah. What's next for you, Taylor? What's going to happen?
All right. A couple of things going on. A couple of announcements to make.
Let's hear it.
The first thing is I am starting a YouTube channel that is going to be definitely not a daily vlog. I have a crippling perfectionism, and so it's actually a therapy for me to kind of get over that and commit to a lower barrier of entry when it comes to polish and production. So I'm excited. That's Jump Cut Pro YT on YouTube. Just look up Taylor Gunn. I'll be there. Also follow me on Twitter. But
link in descriptions.
A couple of other things.
Yep.
I'm starting a company with some people that I really, really love and admire. Some of the best people I've worked with in this industry. We have Antioch, who is an absolute S-tier thumbnail designer. He's worked with everybody. We have Matthew Sampson.
Oh shit, that's my thumbnail guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, really?
Yeah, Antioch. Yeah, he's
awesome.
He's
He's worked with everybody. Yeah. So Antioch's there. We got Matthew Sampson, who edits over for Valkyrie. We got Frank Ponce, who I worked with at Beast for production. He's an absolute godsend of a human being. He loves to teach. We got Christian Saul on writing and Damon Gonzalez doing some stuff for us as well. And basically what we're setting up is a company that's going to allow creators to invest in their creatives. Right. Because the problem right now is that if you want better editing, you want better writing, you want better production research, you have to go maybe find better people. That's not a good solution. That's not a people first solution. That's a product first solution. So what we hope to do is we've kind of gotten the best of the best together. We're going to be doing creative coaching for whatever your heart desires, dude. You want to learn how to video edit? You can book me. I'll tell you how to edit videos. You want to learn how to do visual effects? You got Matthew Sampson. You want to learn how to do thumbnails? You got Antioch, bro. It's a really good way to give people access to coaches that I think will actually make a difference in their skill set.
Wow. That sounds fucking awesome, dude. Nice.
Company's called Mind Feast. Keep a lookout for the announcement, hopefully later this month. last thing I'm doing is obviously trying to write fantasy novels and sci-fi novels, but
Yeah.
we'll see what happens with that.
I imagine that would take a lot of time to produce just one piece of fantasy novel content.
Yeah. My goal is to have it done. I have this big sign on my wall that says October 8th deadline. So that's when I joined a competition that let me enter 20 pages of it, and I made it to the top 100.
Oh, wow.
And so I'm hoping to actually beat the competition deadline for when they're going to announce the winners. I'm hoping to have my book fully written by the time they announce the winner, so I could just turn around and figure it out.
Dude, honestly, thank you so much for spending the time with me.
Of course, man. Thank you for having me.
I think you got a fucking amazing brain and you're not in there. Seriously.
You know what? I really appreciate it, dude.
Make sure that you go and check out www.storesar.com, sign up to our mailing list, and stay up to date with our most recent presets and courses. And also subscribe and make sure to check out our other tutorials on our other presets. All right, see you later.